Welcome back. Well, let's stay with tomorrow's elections in Osun State. We'll go back to Osogbo, where our political correspondent, Seun Okinbaloye, is standing by to interview the resident electoral commissioner, Mr. Olusegun Agbaje. Seun.
Well, thank you, Bimbo, and welcome on Channels Television's News at 10, Mr. Olusegun Agbaje. Thank you for joining us. Let me start by asking you, it's just few hours to the election, and the people of Osun State are anticipating the process. Would you say that everything is in perfect situation ahead of the election?
Thank you very much. On the part of INEC, we are ready for this election, and we believe that very soon, in the early hours of the morning, we should be leaving the super rag to the various polling units across the state.
Interesting. We've seen some new, some redeployment in the police force, which some of them you have worked with over the last few weeks. Has this affected your plans in any way?
In a way, one can say that at the highest level of the police, we do not seem to have any problem, but apparently at the lower level, we seem to be trying to get to understand each other. We believe that before tomorrow morning, with the efforts of the AIG and the Commissioner of Police in charge of the election in the Osun State, we should have been able to address all the problems that we have this evening.
There has been heavy and high deployment of police force for this particular election. How would you say, or what's your assessment of the heavy deployment of police force? Do you think it will enhance or it will affect negatively the process of the election?
Honestly, I have not actually seen what people are calling heavy deployment of police persons. All I have observed going around the town to see that at some strategic points, we have checkpoints around the city. And to me, I think it's only fair, and if you are having only just one election in the state, the country, and if we want to have a very secured environment, particularly for our personnel, materials, and the voters themselves, I think we need to have some level of police security presence.
So you agree that the election, the process should be heavily or highly policed?
It should be normally policed to ensure that we have peace. It depends on the security agencies now to factor the various areas into consideration before doing their deployment.
It's just few hours to the election, and there are claims, especially from a political party, that INEC is partisan, and there are claims that there are doubts over the integrity of the commission ahead of these polls because of the relationship of one political party with INEC. What's your immediate reaction to this?
From my sincere objective comments, I would say that there is no comment in that because apparently since I came here on the 1st of July this year, we have had interactions with all the parties, particularly their leadership. We have talked with them, we have had meetings with them, we have interacted with them, and I believe that none of them will be able to confidently or boldly or publicly come out to say that INEC, under the current position in the Osun State, is a partisan. It is not correct, and I will not believe it. And I don't agree that any party will say so.
On a final note, let me ask you, we're going into this election. There's a lot of anticipation in the air if you go around town. At the moment, streets are empty. What would you say about your plans and your expectations of this very election?
Like I said, our plans very early in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock, to move our people from the racks to the various polling units. We also expect that by 8 o'clock, when people will come, we should be ready. In the State, we are able to achieve about 25% success, and we are anticipating that with the cooperation of the security agencies, we should be able to move because almost all our racks are now full, and we expect that very early in the morning, with the presence of police, to be able to move out. We also expect that the people, particularly those who have gotten their PVCs, should be able to come out to cast their votes without any fear. The parents of security you are seeing in the state, they have been moved by their leadership. They should show human face. They are to be very polite to our people, and they also to keep them, ensure their safety and ensure that nothing bad happens to them, and also to secure our personnel and the electoral materials.
Thank you, Mr. Agbaje, for talking to us on the news at 10 on Channels Television.
Thank you very much.
Well, Bimbo, it's back to you now.
Thanks very much. We've been talking to the resident electoral commissioner, Mr. W.H.O Agbaje, live in Osogbo. All right, a group, the Alliance Against Monopoly, has given to the Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, a 7-day ultimatum to rescind on the 60-day ultimatum it issued to cement manufacturers on relabeling and other issues or face a court action. At a conference held in Lagos, the president of the Alliance Against Monopoly says SON is not creating a level playing field in the sector. Our correspondent, W.H.O reports.
The importance of cement cannot be ignored in Nigeria. Its usage in the construction of residential and public buildings, roads, bridges and drainages, as well as the rehabilitation of infrastructure, makes it an essential commodity and forms part of the day-to-day living of an average Nigerian. Ordinarily, cement production is seen as a lucrative business venture, especially for those with the required capacity to run it. But the group is not happy with what they call a systematic clampdown on equal opportunity in the sector. They are the Alliance Against Monopoly, and their fingers at this conference are pointed at the Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, for this.
On Monday, July 21st, 2014, the Standards Organization of Nigeria gave a 60-day ultimatum to cement manufacturers to comply with its directives on product labeling and traceability requirements. This guideline by SON was predated by the ill-advised policy on cement standardization, which attempts to, through the back door, introduce a wholesome monopoly in an otherwise clement cement industry in Nigeria.
To them, the ultimatum is not feasible.
We frown at the organization's attempt to create division in the cement industry and the enthrone monopoly in a most unconscionable manner.
To this end, advice, tinged with warning, is issued.
If after 7 days of this appeal, the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, fails to heed this patriotic counsel, AAM will have no choice than to challenge this brazen and monopoly-inclined policy in the law court.
Government must be guided by the philosophy of inclusive growth. Let as many people as possible participate in the economy and benefit from the economy.
For Nigeria to develop, all those who have the capability of steering it in the right direction should be given a fair chance. W.H.O, Channels Television News.
First Bank.
Good to have you join us on the Business News. I'm Loretta Chiogo. The African Development Bank, AFDB, has advised Nigeria and other African countries to set up new and more productive activities that would drive structural transformation and sustained inclusive growth. This is contained in its 2014 African Economic Outlook. The report stated that East and West Africa achieved the fastest growth rate of more than 6% in 2013. According to it, Nigeria's growth was mainly driven by non-oil sectors such as agriculture, trade, information and communications technology, and other services, with the oil sector accounting for 37% of the GDP and about a fifth of government revenues. However, it noted that crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism, as well as weak investment, currently constitute a drag in growth estimates. AFDB says there's a projection of a 5.8% growth for sub-Saharan Africa in 2014. The security challenges facing Nigeria may not affect her as a top investment destination, so says the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria-Canada Forum, Mr. Bankole Olayele. Mr. Olayele says Nigeria's trade volume with Canada have improved significantly in the last few years, and this is an indication that Nigeria is a fertile ground for foreign investments to thrive. He spoke on our program, Business Morning. Personal finance may not be at its best in Nigeria. The regulatory efforts in the area of financial inclusion will enable it play out well in the nearest future. Now, this is coming from the Managing Director of FBN Capital and Asset Management Limited, Mr. Michael Oyebola. He describes the financial inclusion strategies put in place by the Central Bank and the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) as a means of helping Nigerians realize the personal finance culture.
Financial inclusion is beginning to get traction. The CBN, for example, has started lowering the boundaries or the barriers to getting, at least opening a bank account. The Securities and Exchange Commission, I know, for example, is also working on lowering the barriers so that financial inclusion is possible for everybody. The moment financial inclusion starts getting possible for everybody, you will start seeing a situation whereby personal finance now starts taking centerfold for most people in their lives. And what is personal finance? Is the ability to actually track, on a simple terms, is to track your income and expenditure and ensure that your income is more than your expenditure, and where you have excess or create that excess, that you save and invest for your future.
In pursuance of the ongoing cashless policy and to create a more comfortable transaction platform for the unbanked, Diamond Bank PLC, in collaboration with MTN, is introducing a new mobile banking service known as Diamond Yellow Account. The service allows customers to open a bank account, save and borrow money from the convenience of their mobile phones.
Key players in the banking and telecom industry gather to witness the evolution of an integrated technology of mobile banking service by two leading brands, Diamond Bank and MTN. Among them is the chairman of MTN, who is also the founder of Diamond Bank, Dr. Pascal Dozier.
3, 2, 1.
The Diamond Yellow Account is a service designed to push the frontiers of financial inclusion. With it, customers can now open and operate their accounts through an MTN-enabled mobile phone.
Fundamentally, for us in MTN and Diamond Bank, it's about how do we make sure that we make financial inclusion a reality in Nigeria.
What makes people ignore some products is when they do not work and when they are not efficient. But you have two efficient institutions behind this product. It will work, and I'm sure people will sign on.
It saves you from the hassles of filling forms when you visit a bank. It has other benefits, including a debit card for ATM withdrawals.
You can go to a shop and use your debit card on a POS machine. You can go to an ATM and withdraw money from the ATM using your debit card. You can transfer money to people, people can transfer money to you, but it has very robust fraud and risk management profile built into it. So it does not breach any regulatory decision. What it simply does is that it makes it easier for people to open an account. But before you move to a second level where you now begin to do such, some good volume in the account, then it will be required by a prompt. So you go to the nearest bank branch, go to the nearest agent location to provide XYZ documents so that you can upgrade your account, say, to level 2 or to level 3, where the volume of transaction you can do on the account can now increase.
In addition, customers will also earn interest on account balances and bonus each time they use their account. To open a Diamond Yellow account, dial *710# from your MTN mobile phone and get an instant message with your account number. Kelvin Obeti, Channels Television News.
The positive rally at the Nigerian equities markets came to a halt today as key indicators ended the week in the negative territory. Bisi Adebayo has today's closing figures.
Hello
and welcome to the stock market reports. After 3 consecutive days of positive trade at the Nigeria equities market, the bird staged a comeback, pushing key indicators back into negative territory. The all-share index ended the week at 42,598.46 with a market capitalization of 14.06 trillion naira. With a 9 naira 99 kobo increase in its share price, Seplat was Friday's top loser. The Fat Rapco and Nigerian breweries also got the cold shoulder. On the other hand, oil marketing firms dominated on the gainers chart. Investors favored the shares of Coal Oil, Total, and Okomo Oil. Sat Insure, FCMB, and Access Bank were the most active to boost market turnover. When the closing bell rang, investors in 3,648 deals exchanged 360.02 million units for 3.72 billion naira. And that's a wrap on the stock market reports. I am BC Adebayo.
And that's it on business. We'll leave you with the outlook from the global market. I'm Loretta Chiogo. It's back to the main news.
Bank. Still ahead on the news at 10, Ivorian striker Didier Drogba quits international football. That's on Sports News. Do stay with us.